Hey guys, I'm back with a new video. In this video, we'll learn about generators in JavaScript. ES6 introduced a new way of working with functions and iterators in JavaScript, and that is termed as generators. So the question that must come in our mind is, what is a generator? Now, a generator is a function that can stop midway and then continue from where it stopped. Remember, we learned about async await in one of our videos, and as a side note, it is also based on generators. I will also show you in the coming video how you can implement your own async await using generators. The pause and resume effect of async await was discussed in one of my videos where we demystified async await. The link for that video can be found down below. So generators are intricately linked with iterators. If you are not aware about the concept of iterators, I do have a video on that. The link for that can also be found down below. Now there is a difference between functions and generators. Let us cover that first before we go into the technical details of generators. So I will again ask you, what is a function in JavaScript? I did explain that in the function video of this series, but let me reframe the definition of the function this way. A function is a block of code that cannot be stopped before it finishes its task. The last line of it is executed. It follows the run to completion model. Contrary to this is the behavior of generators. Generators have a pause and resume effect that is tapped under the hood in async await as well. Now generators are a special class of functions that produce a sequence of results or sequence of values instead of a single value. You generate a series of values. Next, generators can solve most of the common problems that you encounter in programming. Just like iterators, generator is a function on which you can call the next method. Every invocation of next function on the generator will return us an object of this shape, where we have a value property and it is say of the type any, so it could be some value or it could be undefined as well. So when the value comes out to be undefined, the done will be evaluated to true. And when done is true, the generator stops and it won't generate any more values. But what if the done property is false? Then in that case we can generate more values because our iterable is not completely consumed. So let me again summarize this with the help of a diagram. First is the normal functions that follow the run to completion model, and second one is generators which follow the pause and resume effect. So as you can see from the diagram that normal functions follow the start to finish model. Contrary to this, when you start a generator, this will return to us a generator object. So you're starting the generator and this returns you a generator object. Now how does a generator starts? A generator starts either by calling the next function or using in loops or functions. Then whenever you encounter a special keyword called as the yield keyword in the generator, just like the await keyword that we discussed in async await, we will have to yield a value maintaining a pause at that point. So in essence, we are defining a checkpoint at that line where we are maintaining a pause and saving the state, and then we exit. Next, right after that, you will resume further, again maintaining a pause at that point, saving the state on this new checkpoint, and then we exit to resume further, and we will continue following this until we no longer encounter any yield statements and the generator is completely done with its work. Now as a side note, you can see from the diagram the yield, resume and yield loop. Just before the finish, there is a possibility that the generator may never finish, so it may keep on generating values. So now we are crystal clear on the concept of generators. Let us define a simple generator to understand all these concepts that we discussed. So back in my Visual Studio Code, let us define a generator function. So the syntax for defining a generator function is to use an asterisk right after the function keyword and then define the name of the generator function like this. So function, I will use an asterisk and the function name, so generator function like this. Now I will make some logs in the generator function to demonstrate exactly what a generator does, where it starts to execute. So first let us make a log and say console.log I will be executed first. Now right here let us yield a value hello from the function. So yield hello, And now, keeping the diagram in mind I showed you in the slides, commit this to your mind that the yield keyword is used to pause and save the state. It is basically a checkpoint. So this is a checkpoint. It is because of this yield keyword that the generators have the pause and resume effect, and they don't follow the run to completion model. You can stop them at any point and resume when you want using this yield keyword. Also, as a side note, if you use return keyword anywhere in your generator function right before the last line of your generator function, like say here, if I say return, you can see that this statement got a bit translucent in our ID because here we are directly returning from the function, and as a result of this return, this line of code will not get executed at all. So let me comment this out. So if you return from any line before the last line of your function, it will immediately return from the generator function, and subsequent lines of code below the return will not be executed. Now let's say we have a log to the console which says console.log I will be printed next after some pause or duration, and then finally again a yield statement to yield a value. So I will say here yield world. Now in order to run the generator function, the first thing we need to do is to create a generator object. So right here, let us write some steps first. So steps, create a generator object. So const generator object, and I will run the generator function. Now in order to generate a sequence of values until the done property gets evaluated to true, I can say console.log generator object.next, and let us copy this multiple times like this, and let us print the values, say for these last 3 logs. Now once the done property gets evaluated to true, the generator will stop generating any more values and it is now over. So let us go back to our browser to see what we get. So you can see first we are getting the first log I will be executed first, then the hello value got yielded, then we got I will be printed next after some pause or duration, then the world value got yielded. Finally, when the iterable is completely consumed, if you try to access the next function on the generator object any number of times, you will get undefined, because now each time the done property will get evaluated to true, so you will not have any more values to generate. So this was all I wanted to cover about generators in JavaScript. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends and colleagues, hit the bell icon to get the notification for all the upcoming uploads, and I will see you guys in the very next video where we will perform a cool exercise of implementing async await using generators. So let's catch up in the next one.